Shalom, beloved. It's a word. I wanted to talk about ministry. Ministry, beloved. Ministry. I was listening to a video of a minister talking, and he was talking about how there's a difference between the gifting that Yahweh, God, gives us and ministry. Some people think that their gifting and their calling are one and the same, but they are not. That your gifting, your gifts, are not necessarily your ministry. That's not to say that your gifts can't be used within your ministry, but your gifts are not your calling, your ministry, beloved. Okay? So after he said that, it was late, I'm listening, and I thought, okay, Lord, I know what some of my gifts are, but I'm not necessarily certain about my calling, my ministry. I thought about what I do on here, but I wasn't sure, is that my ministry? So I said a prayer. Lord, reveal to me my ministry. What should I do? And there had been something laying on my mind for quite a while anyway. And that was when my husband got sick, uh, he ended up in the hospital. And after the hospital released him, they released him to a rehabilitation center, AKA a nursing home. And he was there for about 8 days. He was supposed to be there a lot longer. But over the process of time, I noticed a lot of concerns about him being in care. One of those things was the lack of care while he was in care. Many of the attendants, many of the young women and the young men that worked there, they paid more attention to their cell phones than they did the patients. And I could see the sorrow, the neglect on a lot of these said patients. And I would go up and I would sit with my husband. I would stay hours, 6, 8 hours every day. But then one day, I don't know why, my sciatic nerve, which I had never really had problems with before, it just exploded. I was home. I couldn't even lift up out of the bed. One fraction of an inch of a move, and the pain was beyond description. It definitely gave me an understanding of what it feels like to be incapacitated, what it feels like to need somebody to help you, what it feels like when your body functions are still functioning, but you do not have the ability to care for yourself. And I prayed, and I was getting my daughter, who was in there, to help me. It took me over 45 minutes just to sit up on the side of the bed, and that was excruciating. And then I was getting the spiritual knowing fluctuate between heat and ice to try to calm it down. Meanwhile, my husband was still in care. And now I really feel bad because I can't get to him. And I definitely can't help him. I need to help myself. And pride, if ever there was any, goes out the window. You need the kind of help that you cannot be proud. You have no power. The pain is so intense. The need is complete. The need that you experience during those times are complete. You can't get up. You movement is truly a problem. I mean, it was so bad. Going to the bathroom was like, please God, please God, please God, I can't make it. Okay. You practically need a diaper. Okay. If you don't. And thank God for my daughter. Um, that knowing came and I fluctuated between and ice, heat and ice, and it eased up by the second day. By the second day, I could move around. Pain was still there, but it was easing. Meanwhile, my husband's calling me. And why haven't you come? What's going on? Come see me, come see me. And he's telling me all the challenges he's experiencing at this nursing home, this rehabilitation center. What I didn't see on my own, he was filling in the blanks. And he's telling me, other than the fact they brought him food, no one came in to check on him. Nobody. So whatever state he was in that bed, that was the state all day long. He wanted his cell phone, so I left it plugged in beside his bed. He told me, he called in the middle of the night and said this young man came into the room who had never come in there before, who hadn't spoken to him. And when he thought my husband was asleep, he was trying to get his charger. But when my husband stirred, can I borrow your charger? My husband told him no, he needed it. And the young man left. But the fact that this same young person worker, who had not met, spoke with, been around, visited, walked in to his room, was trying to take his cell phone charger. And I had already had a thought. I did not want to leave his cell phone there. He had an iPhone. I don't. I had an Android. But I was amazed that the young man didn't steal everything. But when my husband confirmed my thought, even though I was in pain, by the second day, I could get up there. Okay. And he's like, you the only person. I mean, my daughter was going to see him. And he had asked me not to tell people how sick he was. He didn't want people to see him that way. So the rest of the family really didn't know. My daughter, my youngest son knew, but nobody else knew. And I was trying to honor his request. But as I went through the halls going to his room, I noticed the sadness, the dejected look in a lot of the people's eyes. I'm talking about the patients. One man, he was a white man. He's sitting in the hallway. I had noticed he was always out in the hallway in a wheelchair and just trying to. So I said, how you doing? He perked up, right? I'm fine. I stood there and I talked to him for a minute, right? And his whole disposition is like he raised up. Even though he's in a wheelchair, he raised up. And, just speaking to people, a kind word is powerful. And I remember thinking, I don't see people. I don't know where this man's family is, but nobody seems to be talking to him. And so I would just speak. talk for a minute with him, talk about God, and going in there to where my husband was. And I would notice the neglect. And what I didn't notice, my husband filled me in on. Now, he was in there because he was losing strength rapidly. He'd get up and just fall. He could be walking, and when his strength went out, he'd just fall. Boom, he on the floor. And somebody got to pick him up, and get him in the bed or get him in a wheelchair. So they would teaching him or helping him try to climb steps. They had these stairs, like 3 stairs. You walk up, you come down. They were trying to get him to build his strength up, but he was truly sick. He had, I'm not going to discuss what he was sick from, but his organs, one particular organ was failing, and basically I knew God was going to take him. I was going through my own issues, trying to be strong for him and deal with it. But as I'm there, I hear another man calling out, help, help, somebody. Just every time he could be calling out. So as my husband is telling me all of these issues and concerns, the doctors walk in. The doctors and the nurses, they're going over his chart and what's going on. But when they spoke to my husband, they spoke to him in third person. The doctor talked at him, not to him. And every response I had for anybody, I was trying to speak kindly, because one of my concerns was that when I left, if I got upset about the way they spoke to him or treated him, that they would take it out on him. So as the doctor talked at him, and I could see my husband's response, I know how he is. I was like, he can understand what you're saying. Yes, but what he needs, and he this and he that. And I'm like, you can talk to him. I think it'll make him feel better if you talk to him and not at him. Uh, at one point, they did shift, or this particular doctor did shift, but I noticed this reoccurrence constantly, that they would talk at people, at the patient, at other patients, because there was a shared room. And I thought, that is a terrible way to speak to people. They're there. He's conscious, okay? It may take him a moment because he's sick, but he hears you. He's looking you in your eye. And as everything went on, and my husband is telling me about the treatment, you can get so sick that you need the kind of care that's like you are a baby, okay? You're too sick to do for yourself. You need assistance. And some people in those moments, the workers, they have a humiliating way of treating those patients. As I'm still there, and I had made it up in my mind that even though they wanted to keep him, I'm going down here to the office to tell them I'm taking him home. Okay, whatever, this is too much. He would just turn inward. I could see it. When I came in the room, he turned inward. And I decided I'm going to take him home. And whatever he needs, me and my daughter who are at the house, we're going to give him care. Me being the lead, because some things she could not do, did not need to see, because that was her dad, her father. But the way they treated him, and then this young man coming in the room in the middle of the night, just no, okay. But as I'm going down the hall, to the social worker's office. I asked, where's the office? I want to take my husband home. At first, the young lady, she's on her cell phone, and I mean, she locked on that thing. She never looked up, you know. I said, I need to speak to somebody to discharge him because I'm going to take him home. My mind was so made up, I started to hoist him on my back and get him to the car. And I was like, you know, I can just get a wheelchair and get him out to the car. I can put his clothes on him, get him out to the car. You know, you can go down this office. She never looked up from a cell phone. You can just go on down there and down the hall, cross the two double doors, and da 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 to your left. Okay. And as I'm going, I hear this man calling out, help me, help me. So I said, I go back to the station, main station. And I asked the young lady, there's a man calling out. Uh, I've heard him multiple days at multiple times. He always do that. We just ignore him. Does anybody go to check to see? Just ignore him. She ain't never came up off of her phone. She just her and many of the other ones with her, just cell phone. They are transfixed, right? So I walk down before I go to the office to get my husband released. I go down and follow the sound of his voice to the room where he's at. Like, they're not going to go check on this man. I walk in the room and it's a white man. But that really didn't matter. Lord have mercy, this man is hollering help. Nobody coming. There's something wrong with this. So excuse me, sir. Yeah, yeah. What do you need help with? Right? He needed to be adjusted in the bed. He wanted his pillow adjusted, just different little things. So I did it. And I was talking to him. And I had noticed nobody had really been in that room all those times I came. And I'm not just talking the workers. I'm talking family, friends. He didn't seem to have any visitors. There was also an elder uh, black person, and nobody had come to visit them. Many different people over the days that I had been there, didn't seem to have visitors. And so I just stood there talking. And I was talking, they asked me who I come to see. It was my husband, you know, and I talked about God. God touched my heart. I had to come down here and see y'all. I had to figure out what's going on. And the white man, he lit up. He was happy. We talked. Black lady, she talking. And you could just see they were glowing. They were fine. And I told the white man, I said, you know, I'm going to take my husband out of here. But I wanted to see, I just want to make sure you're all right. Are you better? Yeah, I'm better. Okay. He didn't holler out anymore while I was there. So I go on down the hall and I tell them I want to get my husband discharged. And they were like, no, we feel as though it's better he stay here. And I was like, I'm telling you, you either get the discharge papers or I will put him up on my back that firemen's carry and get him out this door. One way or another, he's leaving. So they put the paperwork together, even though they kept insisting that it would be better for him to stay. We need to show you how to administer his medicine. He needs it every so many hours, and this and that and that and this. Okay, okay, all right. So they said it would take a day. He'd come back tomorrow at set time, and we'll have him ready. Okay. So I go back in his room, And it's like he went dark. He turned on the side of the bed and just go dark, like he went inside himself. And I'm sitting there talking to him. Now you gotta remember, that day, that's sciatic, but the pain was eased enough. I'm loaded up on what's that, Aleve and different stuff, and I'm telling him, you know, I'm taking you home tomorrow. And at first, he's still in his dark place, I'm gonna take you home. They say I need too much care. I don't care what care they say you need. I'm going to do it. We going home. Slowly but surely, as it dawned on him, it's like he brightened up. He went from laying down in a ball with his head turned to turning, and it's like it registered. And I went to his closet looking at different clothes that he had on and thinking what's clean and what I can put on him. And then I said, I'm gonna take different stuff home. I'm gonna make sure I bring some, sweatsuit for you and this, that, and the other, and dress you, and we gonna get up out of here. By the time I turned back around from looking in the closet, he was sitting all the way up, face all bright. Now he's still sick, but bright, happy. I'm going home. That's right. We going home tomorrow. All right, we going home. I told him I'm gonna take your cell phone and charge it. You can use that phone in the room, but I don't want to leave it because I got a funny feeling I get here in the morning, it's not going to be here, love. Okay, so I'm staying anyway late, but I don't want to leave it. And you get home, you don't have it, right? So I come back the next day. They let me use one of the wheelchairs. I get him home, and we go from there. My sleeping was crazy because every 3 to 4 hours I had to administer different medicines, and so it's kind of like you're sleep deprived a little bit. I had to make sure he had certain kind of food and different things. But his spirit, I think he stayed on this side of glory a lot longer because he came home. One of the other things I realized, there are other people, they can't stay home. Some of those people, they take their homes to pay for their care. And these people don't really get a lot of say in it. They literally take those patients' homes from them. I look at the different workers and I'm just stunned with this cell phone fixation that they have, the negligence. Okay. Now, before my husband got sick, he used to work in senior facilities, senior care facilities, nursing homes. And he walked around and talked to people. He did the job he had, but he was a talker. And, he liked it. I never thought more of it than, him talking about what he did. But since then, you know, I realized there is a need for help in the nursing home industry. I'm not talking about the kind of need where you're going to get paid. Okay. This is not where you're going to make money. You're giving so that it can be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over shall men give into your bosom. Some of the people that are in care are young. They could have been in accidents. They could have had an aneurysm. Uh, Different events happen in their lives to them. Their their financial position does not necessitate the fact that they're not put up in care. You know, it can happen with no warning. Okay. And if they don't have visitors, and if the visitors only come every now and again, maybe they're working, they're taking care of their own families, they can't make it. I'm not faulting families. Um, what I'm saying is, it could happen to me, it could happen to you with no warning, none, where you need full body care. You also need somebody to care about you, to talk to you, not at you, and to look out for your best interests. Okay. As I stated, I was listening to this minister last night talking about the difference between your gifts are not necessarily your calling. A lot of people think their gifting is their calling, and they're two different things. He used Joseph as an example. Joseph was a dreamer and an interpreter of said dreams. Okay, he could interpret dreams. He interpreted his own, his brothers couldn't speak kindly to him because of it. They threw him in a pit, originally intending to kill him. Finally, they determined to sell him off as a slave. We know what happened to Joseph. He ends up in Potiphar's house. And Potiphar's wife tries to get with him, lies on him. He ends up in jail. Whilst there, he interprets the dream of the butler and the baker. And I do believe it was the butler, the king's butler, that was restored to his position. The baker had his head cut off. Okay. They had promised that when they got before the king or Pharaoh to mention Joseph, but they didn't. Then one day when the king had a dream and nobody could interpret it, the butler remembers, his cupbearer remembers Joseph and tells the king, Pharaoh, about Joseph, this man that interprets dreams. Joseph is brought before Pharaoh, and we hear the 7 healthy cattle and the 7 lean cattle. I believe the 7 ears of corn versus the 7 shriveled up ears of corn, and he interprets the dream for Pharaoh. His gift made Pharaoh trust Joseph, so much so that Joseph went from prison to being the Pharaoh's vizier, meaning he was second only to Pharaoh. Okay. Pharaoh entrusted everything to Joseph. Okay. His gift made room for him, but his gift was not necessarily his calling. Joseph ended up managing all of the affairs of Egypt to save not only Egypt, but the surrounding people, nations, even his own family. Because Jacob sent his sons down into Egypt to get supplies because the famine in the land was so great. It was so great. And Joseph became head over Egypt. Okay. It wasn't his gifting that he was still operating in, it was his calling. Ministering and ordering, being a good steward in the house of Pharaoh. Well, a lot of us, beloved, we have gifts given to us by Yahuwah, but our gifts are to build up the body of Christ. Right now, there is a need, beloved, in those nursing homes for people that will go in and talk to the patients, maybe even have ministry, okay, and sometimes pick a day that you speak and preach the word of Yahuwah God. Other people, you can be part of handing out food or lunch. Um, Other people, you can just visit different patients and speak a kind word, build them up, let them know somebody cares. There is a second portion to that same ministry. One portion is the patients, okay? The other portion are the workers. The workers who are in need of support, in need of a kind word, in need of knowing their work, their help. I don't care, from the man that mops the floor. He has value, okay? Can you imagine going into a nursing facility, a rehabilitation center, and they don't mop up the different things that can end up on the floor, the smells, the scent that would assault you could be so great. Even a man or woman that's mopping the floor has value. The kitchen worker, whoever, if they work there, they are of great value. To let them know, to administer to them, to support them, to encourage them, be it the patients or the staff. Picking a day, one day, maybe two, but if you can't do two, one day every week, even if you rotate, that you go in and do, if you decide to do the staff ministry, you support the staff, you encourage the staff, you let the staff know how valued and important they truly are, how necessary they are. Okay, so that maybe they won't be transfixed on their cell phones so much, while still gaining their understanding that, Lord forbid, one day you get in an accident with no warning and you transform from staff to patient, because it can happen, beloved. For those who choose the ministry of the patients, whether you go from room to room and encourage people, speak to people, speak the word to them, especially the ones who have nobody coming to see them. Lord have mercy. Especially them. But even the ones that do. Now, there's also a third component to those ministries. We've got the patients that need that ministry. We have the staff that needs that ministry. We also have the families of the patients that need that ministry, because many of them are trying to accept that their child, maybe whether they're an adult or not, my child is getting ready to leave this world. My brother, my sister, my mother, my father, my best friend is about to leave this world. I know from my own experience, I'm trying to be strong for my husband. And when I would get by myself, I needed support. I needed an encouraging word, because it was, ooh, I knew what was coming. But I tried to be strong and speak life and keep him up. Those families need that ministry too. There can be a group where one group, like I say, you deal with the families. If the families, the friends, the people that come to see them, when you go through, you're looking for them. I just want to give you an encouraging word. I know this is strong and hard for you. Okay, somebody cares. You take care of yourself. By the time my husband was home, and then after so much time, they brought in hospice workers. Most of the focus was on him. But one time they sent a chaplain, and after the chaplain spoke with him, the chaplain asked me to come in the living room, and the chaplain was like, how are you? I didn't even know, I'm just trying, keep going, do what I have to do. You got to take care of yourself. You got to forgive yourself if you get upset, if you say the wrong things, if you get tired. Be kind to yourself. And I thought, wow, can they see through walls? Because when I had my alone moments, I was not doing good. Okay, it was hard, but I hit it. And that chaplain's words meant the world. It taught me. It kept saying, you be kind to yourself. Take care of yourself. You, the caregiver. Oh, Lord help me, Lord help me. Somebody. The ministry of, you got to do the caregivers from that family, those friends, whoever. You got to pour into the caregivers. And I was about done. I was reading my word and praying when I'll be by myself, but be kind to yourself. Forgive yourself. If you get upset, if you feel overwhelmed, overworked, overtired, it's all right. It happens. And the caregivers, beloved, there are ministries out here that many are needed, many are called. Ooh, but the chosen. They are few. And you're needed, beloved. You are needed. You're going into the trenches. You understand? Blessing and praising God that you yourself or your loved one is not in there. Okay. I'm going to share my screen for a moment. Okay. I want to show you something. All right. Bear with me. Bear with me. Okay. I don't want to disappear on you. So I'm going to open this up. These are some of the concerns, some of the things that happen. Okay, nursing home problems, staffing issues, neglect, physical abuse, psychological abuse, poor hygiene, okay, Medicaid complications, unresponsive residents, poor food quality, malnutrition, okay. These issues can lead to poor health outcomes, such as infections and falls, emotional distress, and a reduced quality of life for residents. Short staffing. A lack of sufficient and trained staff can lead to mistakes, delayed responses, and neglect of basic needs. Listen. Inadequate care. This includes failing to provide necessary medical care, improper use of restraints and behavior modifying drugs, and poor infection control. A lot of times, they will medicate the patients to try to keep them in their beds or from wandering around. Okay. My husband, men, they want to be autonomous. They remember when they could do for themselves. He definitely he did not want to remain in the bed. He was always trying to get up, walk around, then he would fall. And they would get frustrated with him. He was only there 8 days, but they would get frustrated with him. And I think it got to a point they didn't speak kindly to him. Every time he raised up off the bed had an alarm and people would get mad. He's telling me all of these things. I'm trying to convince him, stay in the bed, push the button. He said, I push the button, they don't come, they get mad. He had to go to the bathroom. They don't come in time, and one situation leads to another, and now they double mad, and it just kept going. Okay, neglect and abuse. This can range from emotional or physical abuse to financial exploitation. They take people's houses from them. Now they're trapped in that place. They can't go home. They use their houses to pay for the care. It's a system, my love. It's a system. This can range from emotional abuse, physical to financial, or exploitation or general neglect when staff do not have enough time to provide individualized care. Now, others, they get improperly evicted. Some residents are evicted without notice for being difficult or for complaining. Listen, think about yourself when you're sick, okay? When you are truly not feeling good. First thing is, you're in pain, you don't feel well. Second thing, right up above it, right beside it, is you really don't want to be bothered because you don't feel good. Now, let's take that whole dynamic and put it in a nursing facility, a rehabilitation facility, because many people in the nursing care thought, they think, oh, old people, not all people, rich, poor, young, old, man, woman, black, white, Asian, Latino, Middle Eastern, every person that ever been a person, they're there. Okay. And because you're difficult, now you don't feel good, you don't want to be bothered, you're trying to feel better, but it's not working. Now you're dealing with people you do not know. You're in a place that's foreign, and they kind of got a tube. And you sit, you at the mercy. What they might deem as difficult, and maybe you are. My husband could get very challenging. He could get challenging. It's really all that's going on with them, beloved. Okay. The billing issues, okay. uh, Forcing family members to take on liability, disputes over Medicare payments, excessive charges, restricted visiting hours, poor living conditions, cramped living spaces. I remember one of the other determinations as to why I took my husband out. They had 3 beds in that room, 3 beds. They put him in the center one. It, no privacy. I mean, that's the other thing. When people are sick and they need to have the ability to use the bathroom with the quickness, and they may have a portable toilet, and you're looking at personal private body parts. Okay, I watched staff. I watched them when his manhood was showing. Whew. I watched nurses. I watched nurses. Some palm colored. One lady was Asian. I mean, Lord, Lord, Lord. You'd have thought she never saw a man part in her life. I'm pulling things over him. Ministry, love, ministry. Wait a minute. Uh, Cramped living spaces, poor food quality, noise. You finally get to sleep, and there's noise in the hallway. There's just all these things going on. Then the other patient get a visitor, and they see that, oh, the person in the middle section, what they doing in the toilet, and they want to see it's something. It's something. Listen. Come on. All right. Their health declines. Poor care can lead to worsening of existing conditions, pressure ulcers, infections, falls, mental and emotional distress. Residents may suffer from sleep disruptions. Okay, I told you the young man that went in there. He was determined at first to get my husband's charger, but I think he was just going to steal everything. Okay, sleep disruptions, roommate conflicts, emotional harm from the abuse or neglect. Okay. My point being, I am going to stop sharing. All right. Many of us, when we are called into ministry, we want the shiny shoe position. I want to wear my shiny shoes. I want to look good and everybody see me and I'm all that. Yeah, 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 yeah. No. But you see, the true servants, beloved, the true servants, we have to, and I didn't change my name. Give me a second. I had to change the name on my screen. This is a completely different computer that I've been using. Uh, it's been a long time. So where I used to use the other computer, and I will, God willing. This one, I'm kind of working the kinks out. But if you're looking for a shiny shoe position, okay, we are servants of the Lord. And we know we are a living blessing that we are not in those places and spaces. Nursing homes are known to have issues. And many times you can't always fault the staff. You can't always fault the patient. And you cannot fault the families and friends. It's a combination so problematic. One thing feeds the other, and they're just problems. I say that to say this. I listened to that minister talk about the gifting and the calling are not the same. And I went to sleep thinking, Lord, tell me my calling. Tell me, what can I do? I'm trying, tell me. Um, and nursing homes, I remember, and it was just that bad. It truly was. I took care of my husband the way you take care of your baby in all points. Okay. He was mentally there, although he experienced problems, but he was mentally there. But I took care of him on all points, respectfully. My daughter was here with us, but there was some things when it came to her dad, I was not going to ask my daughter to do. I did not want certain images or experiences for her regarding her dad. Okay, so I stayed around constant. Okay, I wanted him to feel he still had his dignity. Um, and once I did tell people, because he didn't want me to tell anybody. And I remember saying, you know, when God calls you, all of these people are going to get mad at me because they're going to want to know, why didn't I tell them what was going on? I honored him. I'm going to say the first 7 months, it got really, really, really bad December. Okay. By June, okay, it just exploded out of my mouth. It wasn't so much I was looking for help. I wanted them to know what was going on. Okay. Was it June or was it July? I think it was June. Okay. And the irony was, once I told them and they started coming to see him, he ended up in the hospital again. They came to the hospital. Okay. And I had informed them before they went that sometimes he urgently has to use the bathroom. He cannot always make it. That's why the portable toilet's there. Turn your head, but you respect him. Okay. I'm going to keep it 100%. Every single one of us has had moments where our body decided to empty itself and we didn't get enough warning to make it to the bathroom. We did not. We would have been trying to get there. We just didn't have enough time. The difference between what a patient is experiencing and these experiences we have is ours is kept quiet. Theirs can be known. Okay, but there's really no difference. Okay, I told people if you go, you take 100% respect for him or don't go. Okay, most of the time when they visited, I was there. He didn't stay in the hospital but so long. When they released him the last time, they sent him home on a DNR. Okay, and that was, it got levels. How did these situations go? Okay, you can, but to summarize your ministry, beloved, again, you can choose the ministry of the patients, whether you walk from room to room and speak to them, sit with them, visit, talk to them in the hallways, meet in the recreational facility, and do a church service, whatever day of the week. Let's be 100% here. When we need Yahuwah, God, it's not just on a Saturday or a Sunday. It's any day, all hours of the day. Therefore, if you work in the ministry of having a church service, okay, you reading the Bible, you talking, maybe y'all sharing back and forth. You go alone, you can take a couple friends with you, you set it up however you set it up. There's no one particular day of the week, my love. We need our Father every day, any night, anytime. And we know that word of God is powerful. Okay, it goes out and don't come back void. It does exactly what he purposed it to do. So if you decide you want to visit in the rooms, walk through the halls, have ministry in the recreation center, whatever day you can go in. This is voluntary. They're not going to pay you. You're going in the trenches, beloved. We going in the trenches, all right? Putting on that whole armor of God. We going in the trenches, all right? God blesses us every day. Freely we have received, freely we shall give, all right? Whether you do the ministry in the recreation center, whether you do room to room, whether you talk to people in the hallways, maybe you have a blend, meaning you're speaking to patients and you're speaking to families as the need shows itself. Or the staff, you may hear a family member cuss the staff out. Okay. Now, the family member marches off, but you need to support the staff at that moment. Remember oh, help me, Lord, help me, help me, help me. The different moves of the spirit, okay, it comes from the same body. Whether uh, you're speaking faith, whether you are helps, whether you are prophesying, whatever you're doing, love, you may notice it's the staff that needs support. Then you support the staff. It's multifunctional, even though you may go in to have a service, or you may intend that day to go and visit with patients. If you see the staff needing support, you support the staff. Other people's ministry may be the staff. But if you get there and the staff is busy and they don't really want to be bothered, you wish them well, tell them, I'm praying for y'all. God bless y'all. I respect what you do. Your service is so needed. Just, I'm here. I'm here for you. But if they don't need you that day, now you're going through the halls, okay, and you're talking to the patients. Or you may go through the halls and you have to talk to the family. You may see somebody leaving, they're not talking, they quiet. They're dealing with the weight of what is going on and what's coming. I know that's what was happening to me. The weight of it. And trying to stay up for their loved one, for their friend, whoever's in there. All right. So you got a three-pronged situation here. You have the staff, you have the patient, and you have the family. Okay. You can be used in any function, but you may go in as ministering. You're in the recreation center, or you may be staff support. Staff need support. They need it. Okay. You gotta put your boots on, baby. No shiny shoes. Okay. We don't have anybody to help mop. Huh? Where's the mop? Where's the we clean these floors so it smells good and it's decent and it's clean. Okay. We may need somebody going in and clean that bathroom. Now I know there may be some functions that aren't for you, and they may be for you. It's where the need is where the ministering comes. We are servants, beloved. Whether it's the patient, I don't care what color. No, color ain't got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. No, it don't. You may go to your own, and that's beautiful. That's beautiful. But if you see the need on another, Father said, do not neglect the strangers among us. All right. When that man was in the hallway looking so sad, he was not Yasharet. When that man was hollering out, I didn't know who it was. I just went down there. Okay. And there was an older Yasharelite, a daughter of Abraham, and I got in the room talking to both of them. I started out just in the doorway, peeping, trying to figure out what's wrong. Because nobody was going. Okay. And when I left, it was far better than when I came. The end of the matter was far better than the beginning. Okay. We got a three-pronged ministry: patient, staff, and family. Patient, patient, staff, family. If we want that situation to get better, we have to intercede, not just through our prayers, but through our uh, giving, through our ministry, through our support. This came to me this morning. I talked to a friend of mine, and she's a nurse. She's a retired nurse. She talked about how she had gotten cussed out sideways by one of the family members. This is why I know the staff needs support. Okay. She talked about how there's sometimes just wasn't enough people there. And they running around trying to do all these things. They're tired. They feel abused and neglected and overlooked too. Okay, again, I don't care if you're starting from the guy who's wiping windows, washing floors, cleaning toilets, to the doctor and the nurse. There's no difference. Okay, the staff, you be their support. You be encouraging. If you can collect stuff and I don't know, go in there and hand out flowers to the nurses, or you know, I can't, something kind to the young men, to the men, okay? Or the words you speak, or you may have somebody that cooks, okay? And you come in with cupcake baskets for them. This is for the staff, okay? And you ask, can we pass them out? Don't just be trusting the person up at the desk. You know, we're volunteers. We've called the recreational manager. We've told them what we want to come in here and minister and do. Okay. You may have a person that cooks cupcakes or makes cookies, whatever. Okay. All of it is relevant. That's the staff, a kind word, an encouraging word, a word of acknowledgement and respect for what they do. The families, the friends, the visitors, encouraging. Some people come and visit and their spirit is pulled by everything they're exposed to. They want to support their loved one, but they need support. The caregivers, I was a caregiver. And whoo-wee, if you know somebody that's a caregiver, you need to give some care to that caregiver, okay, to keep them up, which helps their patient, okay, which helps their loved one, okay. So we've got caregivers, which are family and friends many times, or a caregiver that's paid, okay. Even if they're in a home, you a friend, next door neighbor, whatever. Uh, so the patient, the staff, and I'm going to include those caregivers with that staff, right? And the caregivers also transform into families, family members, and friends. Those are ministries, beloved. They're ministries that we need volunteers. They need volunteers. I'm saying we because it's true. I haven't even started it yet. I woke up this morning and said, I got to do something. Okay. And it is our charge as servants of the Most High to build up that body. And we do not pass over whoever. Now, if the person doesn't want to speak with you, that's fine. You move on. You don't be mean. You don't take anything personal. You got to go in there with your armor on, okay? Your helmet of salvation, so your head is right, okay? Your breastplate of righteousness, okay? Gird your loins with truth, okay? Prepare your feet. Put on your boots, baby. We going in the trenches. You bringing that great basura, that gospel, that good news up in there. And if somebody come up against you, you using that sword of the spirit. You using the word of the Most High. Not to harm anybody, but to keep order so that you can return and be the help. Okay? This is a word, beloved. It's a need. Everybody talks about nursing homes, everybody, and how, Lord, I don't want to end up in a nursing home. When my mother was sick, same thing. And this was years ago. And it was just, Lord, don't please, okay. Before she passed, she was in hospice, but she wasn't in a nursing home. It was like terror to her. Okay. And we were working shifts trying to, be there for our mother. And we were. But look, there's a call going out. Beloved, there's a need right now. And as servants of the Most High, we're going to give honor unto these people. They deserve it. Okay. And if you feel as though they don't, Yahuwah feels as though they do. What do I mean? When you fed the least of thy brethren, when you clothed the least of thy brethren, when you helped the least of thy brethren, it was as though you did it to me. Remember? Your ministry is calling you, whether it's one day a week, whether you do it at two, do it in measure. Do not try to do everything all at once, beloved. Whether, and again, remember, they can interchange. You can go in intent to do one thing, and the need is in another space. And you respond according to the need. Even if on a normal day, okay, I'm going to go in here and sit with the patients, or I'm going to help the staff or the caregivers or the families. But if the need shifts, you shift. Okay, we're adaptable. We're adaptable. Remember Yeshua? These works that I've done, you shall do also in greater works than these. So you be encouraged, beloved, as I stated. I'm going to contact the facilities I'm going to go to, especially that one that gave my husband, that one I'm going to. Okay. And I want to go to another one that's closer by. You can dedicate an hour out of your day, maybe 2 hours. You do not have to overwork yourself or stress yourself out. This is why we do it in measure, beloved. And the Lord will show you and sometimes grow you over time. Okay? So, spiritually, we're not concerned about shiny shoes. Okay? We're concerned about the people of the Most High, thanking, praising, honoring, and glorifying Him that we there, but by the grace of God, go out. After I saw all that I saw, learned all that I learned, I asked Yah one thing: let me be home. If you gonna take me, if I go to sleep, okay, let me. If I'm just gonna say, if it's a Monday, let me sleep away that went on Tuesday. The angel of the Lord come get me. I don't want to be in one of those places knowing what I know. Knowing what I know. Okay. I remember a young lady, she got in an accident, beautiful young girl. She ended up paralyzed. I can't imagine waking up. Nobody could take care of her. Oh, the care she needed. She's stuck in a nursing home. Okay. I've been in other facilities when I went to see my aunt. I've seen older men, older women, younger women. I've seen and beloved there, but by the grace of God, go us, go I, go you. One accident, one fall away. What's them thing? An aneurysm, just woo. Mm. We walking and talking merciful blessings, and some of us don't even know it. Our children, our loved ones, our friends, our family. We walking, talking blessings, and we gonna share it. We gonna give it away. And you're not looking for funds. They're not gonna pay you love, not in money. But Yahuwah knows, give, and it shall be given unto you. Maybe that curve that your loved one is about to step off of while they distracted. Mhm. And that bus or that truck or that car is coming, they don't even see it. Maybe the blessing you became causes them to be blessed. Where somebody holler out a name sounding just like their name, and instead of stepping in, and ain't even nobody there. Blessings, my love, blessings. Maybe somebody called your name. You know, sometimes worse than dying in that thing is living through it and the end result that it brings to you. You understand? You understand? It is truly a word, my love. It's a word from on high with a need attached to it. Shalom.